Hello friends, this is Worm and it's Wednesday and it's time for another episode of What If Wednesday, which is a series we haven't done in a very long time here on the channel, just because I didn't have many topics to discuss. But so What If Wednesday is a series where we talk about weird, wild, wacky what ifs of Destiny 2. And on the menu for today, I actually want to give a shout out to Alley Snake 7358 because Alley Snake left us a comment. And their comment said as follows: I have another What If Wednesday topic. What if Bungie allowed us to purchase any sunset weapon from our collection or through the kiosk in the tower that would give us a random roll each time, but at a high cost? Unless the old weapons start coming back over time in a way since Bungie has ended sunsetting. For example, Black Armory weapons and old Crucible weapons like Harsh Truce, for example, that we had way back in the Forsaken era. And he Alley Snake left this comment long time ago, like 8 days ago, but I've really been contemplating this. I've been thinking about it. I'm thinking about what would that look like in game, like every single day. I'm considering what would that look like, and I've got some pros. Obviously there's some pros, but there are some cons to it as well, and some reasons why I don't know if Bungie would implement it, but some cool reasons why I think they should implement it. So we're going to talk just in general about this topic. But before we do that, I want to remind y'all I'll be live Tuesdays and Thursday nights here on YouTube. So come watch. We have a lot of fun, talk about Destiny. With that plug out of the way, let's talk about What If Wednesday. What if Bungie allowed us to buy any sunset weapon? And mind you, there's a huge list of sunset weapons in Destiny 2. Like, obviously some of the ones that Alley Snake here brought up, Harsh Truths, the Forsaken era, but this goes all the way back to like D1 era. Belfry Bounty was a D1 weapon. Sunset, it only has one perk on it. We have old raid weapons, for example, the raid weapons from the Leviathan. Sorry, try saying that 10 times fast. But we also have weapons from Forsaken. We have weapons from Black Armory. We have weapons from a variety of different eras that just they're gone. There's no way to get them anymore. And really, it's kind of a shame because this is untapped potential on Bungie's part, right? Like this is a lot of weapons that Bungie has that, hey, like, you could potentially, add these back in the game and give them just complete reworks on the roles, makeovers, whatever you want to call it, on the roles, and give players the opportunity to pick them up for, a cost. Now, obviously, Alley Snake here says at a high cost. I don't necessarily know if a high cost is necessary. I think in terms of the cost, it's going to depend on how up to date the roles are. Obviously, if you take something like Go Figure, which was a pulse rifle from way back in Forsaken, or Trackless Waste, which was an SMG from back then, would it get new roles? Like that's a important thing to consider. Like, would Bungie put new roles on that weapon, or would they keep the same roles that those weapons used to have and just add the ability to purchase them? Obviously, the problem with doing this is if they just poured in a weapon, leave the same perks on everything, you're gonna have a lot of weapons that are incredibly out of date. You're gonna have weapons where like the best role was like maybe Outlaw and Rampage, which Outlaw and Rampage, not necessarily a great option. Like at one point, Outlaw and Rampage was it was an amazing option, but Rampage has since been nerfed. Outlaw has since, kind of gotten out of date. It's fallen out of favor in terms of other versus other weapons and stuff like that. So it's like, would you want it to be for a high cost for a mediocre tier weapon that you're probably not really going to use? I don't necessarily know if you'd want to do that. And I think it would be easy for Bungie to port in all these old weapons, all their old roles and everything, and just, hey, here you go. Here's everything that we had. Everything that had random rolls, maybe exclude some of the early D1 exotics or legendaries that only had like one perk on them, which would include some of the Leviathan weapons. But at the same time, I do think we're going to get the Leviathan weapons back at some point. There's no way Bungie doesn't give us Leviathan weapons. Same thing with Black Armory. There's no way we don't get the Black Armory weapons back in the future. But when discussing getting these weapons back in the future, that's the problem that I could see occurring with Bungie doing this. Is like, I don't think they would add all these weapons back, because here's the thing, whether we like it or not, Bungie has, as of late history, maybe is what I can call it, Bungie has been giving us reprised weapons. We got the Season of Arrivals reprised weapons just this episode, which includes things like Whispering Slab, I can't remember the name of the auto False Promises, there you go, Cold Denial, whatever the sword's name is. Like, we've been getting weapons handed back to us. You know, a couple seasons ago in Season of the Deep, we got back some of these Reckoning weapons and these Gambit weapons. And mind you, these Gambit and Reckoning weapons have been out of the game for a long time. So we know it's possible for Bungie to bring back old weapons, right? Because they brought back things like Outlast, like Bug Out Bag. Like these were Gambit Prime specific weapons that they haven't been dropping for years. Gambit Prime has not been present in the game for years at this point, but Bungie is still able to put them in the game. So I don't think there's an argument to be made that, oh, well, Bungie no longer has the ability to add them back to the game, or Bungie no longer has the models. Because I know that there's been a whole article, you know, and Bungie alleges that they can't retrieve any content, like the story content that is, from early days of D2, right? Like things like the Red War and stuff like that. Basically everything up until, I think they said, was it Beyond Lights? I can't remember exactly what the article said, but basically Bungie said that anything pre-Beyond Light or maybe pre-Shadowkeep, they just didn't have any way to access it anymore. So they had to rely on, you know, captured footage from a variety of different YouTube accounts to show off these things in game, because they just don't have the ability to like have internal play tests with these old elements of the game. And I think that's, you could maybe make an argument for some of the original, like the D2 vanilla weapons. I think like Belfry Bounty was one of those. Like Belfry Bounty was a sniper. I think it was legendary, maybe. But you got it from the EDZ literally like at the very, like, you know, way back in the beginning, way back. Maybe that would be one that you could argue, oh, well, maybe they don't have access to it anymore. But at the same time, if they can bring back the Gambit Prime weapons, which came before the Black Armory weapons, because the Gambit Prime weapons, or Season of the Deep weapons, maybe this is what I should call them now. They came before Black Armory. They came before Season of Opulence. Was that right? Yeah, yeah, sorry. No. They came after Black Armory. I can't remember the exact, the exact time frames, but they came a long time ago. We should be able to see some of these weapons brought back to us, and maybe Bungie could add them into a kiosk and give us the ability to buy them. But I also think that Bungie's going to hold them in their back pocket for a rainy day. And I've said this a million times about especially the Black Armory weapons. The Black Armory weapons, they are holding onto these weapons for a time when they're going to have a major story drought, major content drought. They're going to have something that's going to push players away from the game. And when they do that, they're going to say, here's what we've got for y'all. Here's these Black Armory weapons back. They're going to have crazy rolls just like they did way back in the day. You know, you'll be able to get, Ringing Nail, which is an auto rifle with like Firefly and Incandescent, which sounds absolutely amazing. You're going to be able to get, these crazy good rolls during some kind of content drop. So I don't necessarily think that Bungie would ever, bring us these weapons back in a way that we could just purchase them straight from the tower. Especially not with new rolls because of that reason. Like nostalgia, oh my gosh. Bungie uses nostalgia to prey on Destiny fans like no other. Like it's kind of a fashion trend among gaming right now to prey on nostalgia. We have, look at Call of Duty. I don't play Call of Duty anymore, but Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, like they already had Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3. And then they just remade these games, use the old titles because again, they're preying on that nostalgia, and Bungie is a part of that. And Bungie is going to utilize these weapons to prey on our nostalgia. At some point, they're going to use Black Armory weapons. Maybe they're going to use some of the other weapons, from Forsaken. I don't really know exactly what weapons they would use. Obviously, they'd probably use Black Armory. But still, I think it would be a neat idea if maybe excluding these unique weapons, like Black Armory weapons, maybe some of the world weapons that came from the Tangled Shore. Yeah, sure, like Bungie could probably bring them in to the game. They could probably give them a polish and updated rolls and then stick them in a kiosk for us to buy. And here's the thing, like if they don't update the rolls, the price should be really cheap. But if they do update the rolls, maybe make it a little bit more expensive. I don't think it should necessarily be like, oh, here you got an Ascendant Shard and Ascendant Alloy and an Exotic Cipher to get these. Because again, like they still are legendary weapons. Like, I don't think that they need to be necessarily like insanely high cost, but having some type of cost to them could be a way to bring them back as something that players can buy. Now, the other side of it is, I think it's also potentially, if Bungie were to do this, it's kind of wasted potential. Like, how many people want to go to a vendor and just buy the same weapon over and over and over, right? Like, we already kind of do that with the current system of the Vanguard and Crucible. and Gambit weapons. Each season they add a new weapon, and then you can focus those weapons for free. Just all you have to have is an engram from the respective playlist. But I don't know about y'all, I don't like doing that. Like, I typically hold on to 99 Crucible engrams all season long. You know, unless there's something really, really special. Like, I'll focus Nightfall weapons, just for example, you know, the Lotus Eater. Yeah, I focus the Lotus Eater, but like in the Crucible, I've pretty much got my Joxer's Longsword God roll. Like, I'm probably going to sit on 99 engrams and never going to open them, because I don't like to just go to the tower and sit and open weapons and like, okay, buy this weapon, buy this weapon, buy this weapon. It gets repetitive, it gets old, it gets boring. And that's not something that I personally want to do. Now, I think that one way that Bungie could do this, instead of just having us be able to buy them from a kiosk, is you buy the ability to drop the weapon as a world drop. So you go to the tower, you go to, say, the Monument to Lost Light, you open up a legacy tab, and you have all these old sunset weapons that you can no longer get in game. Now, they all have refreshed rolls, you know, and they cost a pretty substantial amount. Let's say they do cost an exotic cipher to get, but once you buy one, it grays it out, you get a random roll for that weapon, and then anytime you're playing in the world, you now have a chance to just have that weapon drop for you once you buy it. That way, players could go in, if you have 5 exotic ciphers, for example, you just buy 5 weapons. Like, oh, hey, I want Trackless Waste, I want Go Figures, I want, you know, insert whatever other, you know, weapons you want to try to get rolls for in the world. You just go and you buy them, and then all of a sudden you can start earning those as world drops. And then to take it a step further, you could focus them like we've been able to do with basically the past 3 seasons. You know, focus, hey, you know, I want to focus pulse rifles so that I can get, you know, Go Figures, and I could get insert what inaugural address. Not that that would be one that they would necessarily use, but you know, you have the ability to do that, and it's like, okay, like, cool, now I have some, you know, now I have a reason to go and use these. Because one of the things that I know I struggle with right now is enhancement cores. I have so many enhancement cores. I literally have like 10,000 plus enhancement cores. I don't know what to use them on. I buy enhancement prisms, I buy ascendant shards, I buy, you know, alloys, stuff like that. And really the most limiting factor is glimmer at this point, right? Because I can only hold 500,000 glimmer, but this would be a way that we could potentially spend more of those resources, you know, and it costs 100, maybe 100 enhancement cores to buy one of these weapons. Okay, so I go and I buy all the weapons. Boom, now I go from 10,000 to, you know, 8,000, which is not a lot, but still it's nice that I was able to spend a bunch of my enhancement cores. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is such an interesting discussion to be had, you know, like if Bungie were to bring these weapons back, I really don't think they would ever bring back Black Armory weapons. I don't think they would ever bring back Leviathan weapons in this way. I mean, I shouldn't say they'll never bring them back. I don't think they'll ever bring them back in this way. And the reason why is, like I said, there's too much money to be made off the nostalgia factor. But for weapons that people just didn't really care about, like, you know, like the old Tangled Shore weapons, why not? Why not bring them in to the game this way? That way players who never got a chance to use some of these weapons can now use them, and veteran players now have something else to farm for and something else to grind for. And maybe you could even go as far as, you know, setting like a weekly limit. You buy one a week, that unlocks the ability to, you know, get that weapon throughout the week. You know, as the week goes on, you can randomly earn that weapon from, you know, chests or from killing bosses or killing enemies. And then once the week is over, it resets. You know, now you have to go buy it again if you want to buy it again. But it's kind of like a focusing option, I guess. However, instead of just focusing one, you could focus multiples of those if you wanted to. Now, again, would you want to focus multiple? I don't necessarily know, because then you'd have just like a lot of different weapons dropping all at once. Maybe you just want to focus on like one weapon at a time till you get the roll you're looking for. Then the next week do the same thing, next week do the same thing. But yeah, that's kind of my what if Wednesday for today. What if Bungie allowed us to buy any sunset weapon? I want to hear your thoughts on it. Alley Snake, this was a really, really neat conversation topic here. Like this has definitely been one to give me some thoughts. So I want to hear everybody else's thoughts on Alley Snake's opinion here, and how would you bring back all the different weapons that have been sunset? Some of that stuff in the comments. Of course, if you like today's video, do me a favor, drop a like, helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content, conversations, debates, discussions, all that good stuff. And do me one more thing, guys. Watch the videos you see here on the end screen, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you'll like them. See y'all next time. Bye for now.